My name is Alex and my life was far from easy. Each day, after school, I would walk past the local store with a heavy heart. The aroma of freshly baked bread and the colorful display of fruits and vegetables tempted my empty stomach, but I knew I couldn't afford to buy them. I tried to ask for some bread, but the owner said nothing in the market is free of charge. I asked another store owner to have some apple, but without payment, he wouldn't give me. I understand, we're all striving to live. Driven by desperation, I devised a plan to take small amounts of food and essential supplies from the store. I guess, the owner would hardly notice the missing items, and I convinced myself that God will not punish me, for he knew how hungry I am. At first, my attempts went unnoticed. I would swiftly grab a loaf of bread, some canned goods, or even a few eggs, and slip out of the store as inconspicuously as possible. Guilt ate me, but I need to do this. As days passed, stealing became easy for me. I got what I need without being caught. However, fate had its way of intervening, and one fateful day, as I reached for an apple, I was caught red-handed by the owner. Her eyes widened with shock and disappointment. She called out to her husband, who rushed to the scene, anger and concern etched across his face. But the incident spread like wildfire throughout the small community, and soon, a crowd began to gather around the store. People whispered amongst themselves, casting judgmental glances at me who had resorted to stealing. I felt a lump form in my throat as I stood in the center of the crowd, overwhelmed by the weight of my actions and the harsh realization of what I had become. My tears fell down through my face as I whispered, "I'm sorry." But the crowd pointed their fingers at me, calling me names and cursing me. Deep in my heart, I know I deserved it. I can't even look at their faces because of shame. Then, an unexpected bystander intervened and asked what happened. The people told him the whole story, and I remained silent with my head facing the ground.
"Hey, boy! Why did you do that? Do you know that it's bad?"
he said. I sobbed. I couldn't speak.
"Answer me if you want these people to let you go,"
he said again. I answered with a trembling voice, "I know it's bad to steal. My mother taught me that stealing is a crime. She always reminds me to be a good boy whenever and wherever I am. But she's totally sick right now and couldn't work. We don't have relatives here, we just moved here to get rid of my abusive father. I am so sorry. I just can't resist the tempting smell of Mr. Thompson's bread, and the colorful fruits in Mrs. Lena's fruit stand. I am a bad son, I fed my mother with stolen food." The crowd were silent, their curiosity piqued by my words. I shared my story, describing my everyday struggle, and tears welled up in the eyes of the listeners as they began to understand the reasons behind my actions. Nothing can justify stealing. It is wrong. Never do that. I admit I was wrong, and I will never do that again. Furthermore, moved by compassion, the townspeople set aside their anger and judgment. They realized that they had failed to notice the suffering of their neighbors. In a heartwarming display of unity, the townspeople decided to support me and my mother. They organized fundraisers, donated food and supplies, and extended their hands to lift the burden from our shoulders. Through their collective efforts, me and my mother received the help we desperately needed. We all learned the importance of empathy, compassion, and looking out for one another.